In today's video, I'll be showing you step by step how to flush an on-demand tankless water heater. And before I jump into the flushing process, I do want to address one thing that I often hear. Sometimes I hear plumbers or other people saying that you have to flush these tankless water heaters every single year, otherwise they're going to burn out and you're going to have to get a new one. That is not really true. From what I've seen, for majority of people, they don't actually have to be flushed every year, although optimally you should for efficiency reasons. What ends up happening is the scale buildup inside of these tankless water heaters, it builds up more and more. So with time, your water pressure might go down a little bit, the water temperatures are going to fluctuate. If you keep ignoring these symptoms, then your water heater might burn out. But before it actually goes bad on you, you probably will see some symptoms. If you call out a plumber to do this for you, most likely he's going to charge you anywhere from $300 to $500 to do this, so it's definitely a good thing to learn because optimally, you do want to flush your water heaters every single year, at most every year and a half. Of course, it depends on how hard your water is and how much you use it. If you have harder water and you use it more often, you have a lot of people taking showers and you're using hot water all the time, then of course you want to flush this thing a little bit more frequently. If you're not using it very much, then you can wait a little bit. But either way, it's definitely worth investing into a water heater flush kit, something like this, so that you can flush your water heater every single year yourself without paying the plumber. I got the kit right here that's made by Chromex. You can also get every single one of these pieces separately and just assemble a bucket of your own, but it's just more convenient to get a kit right away that comes with everything you need, which is a couple of washer hoses, a submersible 1.6 horsepower pump, and a grate that goes on the bottom of the bucket. That way, when the pump is sucking water from the bottom, it's not going to get all the scale and minerals that it's going to be pushing out of the water heater. But that's enough with the intro. Let's go ahead and start with this process. The very first thing you want to check before even starting anything at all is if you have isolation valves on your tankless water heater. So go down to your water heater and just take a look, because if you don't have them, you might not be able to do this process at all. So what you're looking for is shutoff valves that look like this. And the purpose of these valves is to isolate the water heater. So this is the supply line, this is the water coming in, and then this is the hot water coming out. These isolation valves are nice. It's called a flush kit because you can close this off. That closes off the hot water from going to the house anywhere. And this closes the water from coming into the water heater. So now it's completely isolated. And now all we got to do is hook up hoses to here and to our pump and the bucket, and we can start flushing our tankless water heater. But if you don't have these isolation valves, and unfortunately there's plenty of tankless water heaters that don't have them installed, hopefully you have flexible hoses that come up to it, to the supply and the outlet, that you can simply unscrew and push off to the side. But if you have solid pipe going right into your tankless water heater, then that makes things difficult. You're probably gonna have to get a plumber out, or if you're familiar with plumbing, then you could do it yourself. But either way, if you don't have these isolation valves on your tankless water heater, it would definitely be a good thing to get those installed, as you should be doing this every year or two. So hopefully you have these isolation valves like I do, and the next step you're gonna do is turn off the power to your unit. If you have a power switch off to the side of the tankless water heater somewhere, great, just go ahead and turn that off. Otherwise, you can always go to your circuit breaker and shut the power off that way. After you have the water shut off and the power shut off, if you have a gas or propane tankless water heater, then you're also going to want to turn off the gas going to it. In my case, I just have this unit going to a small propane tank. I simply disconnected this and that's it. If you have a large propane tank or it's natural gas, then you're going to have a shutoff valve somewhere on the pipe, on the gas pipe going into the water heater that you're going to need to turn off. So go ahead and turn the gas off as well, and then we are ready to start our flush. So let's go ahead and take these caps off. These should be just hand tightened because we have these shutoff valves that are always off. So these caps don't need to be on there tight. So we'll go ahead and take the caps off, and we're going to hook up our hoses to these valves. Red to red and blue to blue. If you have just two gray hoses, it doesn't matter, just hook up both of your hoses. Okay, if you don't tighten this enough, it might spray water at you. So just hand tighten it snugly, and that's enough. So we got the red hose in, and the blue hose goes on the other side. Okay, and for the other end of the hoses, here's our bucket. By the way, this bucket, I like that it conveniently comes with a little cheat sheet right here that tells you how you're supposed to hook up the hoses and where you're supposed to hook them up to. So that's kind of cool. So if you forgot something, you can just look quick at this. So anyway, if we look inside our bucket, the blue hose gets attached to the pump. And the red hose, the other side of the red hose, that just gets lowered right into the bucket. And for the cleaning solution, what I have in here is about 1.5 gallons of water and 1 quart of the descaling solution. You could also use vinegar, but the descaling stuff definitely works better. If you could get that, do that. But otherwise, vinegar works just fine as well. You would want the regular distilled 5% vinegar. If you're getting something that is more concentrated, like 20% or 30% acidity, you definitely want to dilute that. So with 5% vinegar, you can just go ahead and dump like 3 gallons in here, and that's it. Or if you're taking the concentrated stuff, if it's 20% or more, then definitely go ahead and put in 2 or 3 gallons of water and then only 1 gallon of the vinegar or even less. And one last thing I wanted to mention, if you don't have a little grate like that on the bottom of the bucket that prevents most of the sediment and scale buildup from getting sucked back into the pump, what you could do is take a sock and a rubber band and just put it on this end of the red hose. That way, whatever mineral buildup and scale is coming out of the water heater, that sock is going to be able to catch most of it. Then just lower that right in there. And I know I filled up my bucket only about 1/3. You can definitely fill it up higher. This is a submersible pump, so you could fill it up all the way up to here if you wanted to. Now we have everything hooked up, but before I start the actual flush, there is one last thing I want to check, and that is the supply line filter, which is usually going to be on the supply line, the blue line. If you don't see something like this, then you might have to take the cover off and just look inside. Right where this pipe goes into, it's probably going to be right inside there. In my case, it's right on the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this thing out and see if it's dirty and has a bunch of debris in it. This filter shouldn't be in there super tight either, so try not to crank down on it too hard with your pliers, because it is just a plastic thing, so it can break easily. Before I completely take this out, I'm going to go ahead and open up these isolation valves to get whatever water is inside of this unit, whatever leftover water is inside of this water heater, to get it to come out. It's usually not much water. That's why I already hooked up my hoses ahead of time. I'll just let it pour into the hoses. And now let's finish up taking out my filter. There you go, now it's going by hand. I might get a little bit of water that comes out, but it would just be a few drops. Sometimes these filters are very plugged up, but from my experience, most of the time they're not. They're pretty clean. And after we do the flush, we are going to check this once again and see if there's more in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put this filter back in, and let's start our flush. Now I'm going to plug in the pump, and I'm going to let it circulate inside of the water heater for about 45 to 60 minutes to make sure that all of this scale buildup that's inside gets taken off. After you turn the pump on, you want to make sure that there's water coming out of the red hose. It should look like this. If the pump is working, but there's no water coming out of the red hose, then sometimes with these Rinnai water heaters, you want to go to the circuit breaker or the power switch, turn this unit back on for about 30 seconds, and you're going to hear the internal valves in the water heater opening back up into their default position. At that point, you can turn the breaker off after about 30 seconds or so, and the water should start coming out. So I'm going to see you in about 60 minutes. All right, so it's been about an hour now, and I don't know if you can see, but the water is pretty darn clean. And here in Hawaii, this is where I am right now, they have a water catchment system here, plus they have filters. So it's rainwater that goes through a filter, and then it only goes into the water heater. So it does kind of make sense that this is super clean. And I'm going to also take out the little filter, the screen, see if there's any debris on that, but I really doubt it just by the state of the water here. Now that we're done with the flush, one very important thing to do is to rinse the pump and the water heater out from the descaling solution or from the vinegar that you used. So to do that, I'm simply going to take this pump out with the hoses, and I'm not disconnecting anything yet. I'm simply taking it out of the bucket. I can pour some of the water out of the pump. See the two bottom holes where the water is pouring out from? That's where it's sucking water in from the bottom. That's why we have it sitting on the grate in this kit. It's nice to have it off the bottom so it's not sucking up anything on the floor. So we can set this aside. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dump this descaling solution out, and I'm gonna go ahead and fill this up with fresh water. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the pump right back in with just the water now. And I'm gonna run it for another 5-10 minutes to make sure that I rinse out all the descaling solution that I put in there, in the pump and the water heater itself. So I'll be back in about 5-10 minutes. After you did all that, then you're basically just going in reverse. Go ahead and turn these valves off, the service valves, and turn the water back on to the house, or to the water heater, I should say. And then turn the water back onto the house, the red one. And if you have electric, turn the power back on. If you have gas, make sure you turn the gas back onto it, power everything back on, and you should be good to go. And the last thing you could do is to fill out a service log. This little sheet came with this kit, which is kind of convenient. Just put your date of when you flushed it and whatever notes that you want to put in here. And then go ahead, or maybe what you used, vinegar or descaling solution, and then hang it somewhere by the water heater. Another thing that I like to do is to just take a permanent marker and write right on the water heater itself. That way, whoever does it next, they can just see it right away. I like to do it for service, like if I did a repair on the water heater, I'll just write the date and what the repair was. And then if somebody did maintenance, you do flushed on this date, and etc. It's kind of nice to just have it right in a row, so whoever does something to this water heater next, they have this whole service log just right in their face. Otherwise, you could do it on a piece of paper, but the paper, it can get wet, it can get wrecked. It's not as good, I think, as just writing right on the unit with the permanent marker. And that is the step-by-step process of flushing your tankless water heater. And the final tip I want to leave you with is the cap. If you're in a space like I was just in right now, where you can easily bump your head, I can't tell you how many times the hat has saved my head from being punctured open by whatever it was that I knocked my head against. So definitely have a hat if you're in an enclosed space. And one final thing that you should keep in mind when you're doing any kind of plumbing work, especially on these on-demand water heaters, it could be a very tankless job.